mark, the transmission of a tremolo, a tremolo is an element of a position of your deletion. Because in return, if it's available, the reference number of the point even can also align itself into each digi. As each digi, the element of the design will position itself into an artifact. Because each artifact, the formulation of the network is a correspondence with a maturity, and to understand the node. If there is a node, the uneven of order, you can unturn yourself into a digi. And each digi is a time sharing in relation to your development. Because nationally, the understanding of a transformation will put even itself into a transferation fee. My old story is, I don't remember where I ended up with epilepsy. I don't have epilepsy, but it was a high spirit energy in relation to the GST. When I got caught by at Charleston, but not anymore because I didn't have the internet. But it was 13% GST. Anyway, in relation to a transformation, the artificial intelligence will mark itself into a correct contour. If there is an impact, the marking material will also deselect itself into a reference number of each way. If there is an OD, the revision of a substitute can also share the time spending. Because each time spending, once you work out the maximum number of data network, you can program the soft element of time. I'll be back in a minute. In time, softening the tissue will also sanction into a point of any kind of something. But in relation to something, the development of a OD is a conversion of the imprint. The way it works is that once you share the network into the soft amount of in relation to the development, the noded can share itself into an even order of interestment. If there is one, the conversion of an imprint will also share itself into each network. But in the correspondence of the maturity, the understanding of a node, you can also degrade itself into any kind of way. If there is a vision of impairment, the artificial intelligence will actually work out the minimum number of data network. If it's not correspondence based upon the digi, the element of the design will actually infiltrate itself into each digi. If there is an uneven order of an investor, the element of the design will actually program itself into a non-digi. Because the non-digi is out more in relation to the development. If there is a development, the node off and also out more the relationship. If the relationship is a conversion of the imprint, the design will also work out the maximum number of data sharing in relation to the developer and also marking the mark. When you mark the mark, the artificial intelligence will actually transfer itself into each way. If there is uneven order of the investor based upon the transmission of the element, the consequences is that once it's equal into a platform, the mirror versus the revision of the mirror will also deselect itself into a node. But each node, you can also element the composition of the depression. Because the depression also means each mtter, you need to work out the maximum number of unity for police army and to conshare into the program. As each program, you will mature the age into the relationship. If there is a relationship, the off-out amount is a production fee to off-tune the unpredictable service. In this way, once you program the soft time sharing, you will decompress the depression. Because each depression, when you decompress the depression, the time sharing will actually share itself into its maturity and to understand the node of the element. If the correspondence is correct concur, the time sharing will actually imprint itself into the revision of the element, as in each way it can correct itself into the draft tissue. I'll be back in a minute. The marking material, once you animate into a formulation of the force or in order of the system, the artifact will actually inflate itself into a delotion. And each delotion, the artificial intelligence will actually node on. Oh, what happened to my hair? Node on into a reflection of a point of investor. Based upon the interestment, the deselection of your reference number, you can also inflate into a non-conversion of an artifact. As each artifact, the working material will actually describe itself into the hexi, and each hexi is an artificial intelligence, because artificially, the correspondence of the markup language, you can also order the non-conversion of the element. If there is a non-conversion of the element, the artifact will also position itself into any kind of way. If there is a correspondence of its maturity, the understanding of the program, you can also share into the draft tissue. If there is a draft tissue, you can also try into an artifact. In this way, once you maximize the artificial intelligence, the program will actually share itself into the into the something. But in return, the relationship to build the program, you can also share the artificial way, because each reflection of the fifth band into the mirror is not a seizure or epilepsy. It is the condition of a sink and to unpump the water chemistry in relation to the development and also sequel into any form If there is an uneven order of investment, the relationship will conshare itself into an even order. If there is a mark into the development, the node of the element can also point itself into a point of investigation. Because in the development of the element, you can point yourself into the digi to share into a draft and to control the program. I'll be back in a minute. Artificially, the soft amount of the conversion of a sister to brother by father of a form, you have to somehow work out. A simple thing is a slow processor. If there is a slow processor, the element of a time sharing, you can actually imprint the design. The design is an imprint in relation to the axis and axle, the three vision of the sixth moon. In relation to the development, the artificial intelligence will also seizure itself into a draft tissue. If there is a correspondence of the network, the soft amount of a measurement to conshare the time into an something. In relation to the development, the artifact will mark itself into a slow processor. If there is a slow processor, in relation to your material, the inferno will actually mark itself into an artifact. If there is a vision of impairment based upon the non-program, once you timeshare into the digi, the element of the design is to sequel into an application form. If there is an uneven order to turn itself into any kind of way, the artificial intelligence will actually cycle through the program for the fifth band and knowing the decimal of formation. But if something is a remosity of your of your something in relation to build the relationship, the artifact will actually infiltrate itself into an each digi. If there is an each digi, the artificial intelligence will work out the maximum number of data sharing to build the relationship and also to share into the digi. As each digi, the artifact, you will formulate yourself into an artificial intelligence. If there is an artificial intelligence, once you work the maximum number of speech pathology, that is just an easy, simple task in relation to the development. Because once you node off the JSON, the element of the array, you can point yourself into each way. If there is an order of investor based upon stock market, you can also share into the artificial intelligence. If there is an artificial intelligence, the wander around is a diagram in relation to our developer. And each our developer, we are seeking what we can find in relation to search, found, before it gets destroyed. In relation to the third ray. Yes, third ray to the fifth lens. But it's not accurate as yet in relation to the fifth lens. In that way, the verbal abuse is based upon discrimination to polarize the demographics and also to demonstrate the deletion, as each deletion is an element of the position of a transformation. Because in return, nationally, The understanding of the soft amount of tissue paper is a correspondence of the network once you share the network into the program. If there is an order of an investor based upon the stock market, it is the time squaring in relation to the publication. And each publication, once you equalize the math of non-conversion, the artificial way is to correspond with artificial intelligence. Because in relation to artificial intelligence, the transformation of the fifth lens, it cannot defend the sixth mirror. No. Because legitimately, I can't pronounce that, sorry. Legitimately, something like that. Legitimately, the formulation of a legislation is to plantive the digi. And each digi is an element of a correspondence. If there is a remosity of democracy, you can implement the infono technology. As in return, nationally, the soft amount of tissue paper is to conshare the scripture and to inform the information of technology. Because in return, its availability is to Dyson, the vacuum cleaner in the air. There was an advertisement in relationship to Dyson on YouTube. I put it on Facebook and the airflow. But in that way, once you correspond with the membranes, you can share the network into the developer, as each developer is a time sharing into a non-program, and to reverse into the imprint, to design into a network of the soft amount of tissue. Once you develop the armor in relation to lithium, titanically, and also the developer of a seek to destroy the third moon, to revenge the vengeance of the fifth lens. In that way, once we sequel into the application form, the artificial intelligence will work out AE versus 943 and 642 to correspond correctly in the developer. As each developer, the node of the element can share into each way, and in each way, artificially, the program can also, I can't record this one. The program can also share itself into each digi. Wait a minute. In that way, once we correspond with simple task is an O-ring. Once we correspond with the network, we can also contrive into the win-win, lose-lose, reversity, remorse, revenge into try. But in that way, the correct conqueror of the O-ring is by not defra, but not by bankruptcy, but to infinite into a 32-bit byte 1.6, 2.4, 3.10 revision, sector 8.2, 7.8, digi, time sharing, imprint 1.8, 2.9. I was just going to have a drink. In relation to the developer, the node of an area of interest, you can also summation the sound, but each sound, once you share the network, you can soft amount the point of investor to develop the information technology and to understand the good tissue. In return, the development of the information technology, you can also even out the soft amount. If there is a reversity of the information technology, the artificial intelligence will work out the maximum number of your composition to absorb. Yes, to absorb, maybe, to absorb the artificial way. If there is an uneven order of a point of investor, the information technology will also can share itself into a 163 and a condition of 634 in relation to the development. Once you share that, you can also assumption into an order of expertise in relation to the development. As each development, you can share the artificial way. When you can share the artificial way, the information technology will work out the element of the design to position itself into the artificial intelligence. If there is any kind of signature, you will develop the develop the information technology, because in return, if there is an artifact, the relationship will build itself into a something. In returning home, the artificial intelligence will even out the artificial way. If there is a conversion of the imprint, the information technology will work out the maximum number of network to correspond with its maturity and to understand the peripherum, to convert into the array and sharing into the network. Ooh. I've been drinking water for a couple of days, and now my taste bud is getting killed. Yes. So now I gotta go back to either Coke or soft drinks or something like that. I drink a lot, but I don't know why. My water chemistry in my body is not 98%. The one I sent to the young German guy, I sent him a text. It was a graphic design. It looks like a penis, but it's not. It looks like it, but it's a spatula. The spatula or spatula, something like that. You know, one of those things in relation, or you know those things more than me, the spatula, or whatever, not spatula, spatula. But in relation to the developer, the information of technology can also infiltrate into a old soft tissue. The water body temperature is compromising the deletion of the depression, because in return, the depression of the deletion, you can also node off into the artificial way. If there is a revision of the imprint, the designer can also share into the marking material. If there is a node element of the design, the information technology can also share itself into an artificial way. The revision of a mirror is to sequel into the application form and also try into the artificial way. If there is an uneven order in relation to build the developer, the information technology will can share itself into the lens versus acne. In that way, the correspondence of the markup language is to destruct itself into the information technology. If there is an information technology, the artificial intelligence will work out the correspondence of the maturity and to understand the node of 634 and 359, the conversion of the artifact. In that way, the fifth lung cancer will come by. Maybe I'll never get cancer, but in return, the artificial intelligence will work out the condition of pathology and to understand the subway. Once you understood the subway, the artificial intelligence will work out the minimum number of data sharing in relation to your development. Ooh, I'm hot. If there is a revision of the imprint, the designer can also share itself into an order of interestment. If there is an uneven order of interestment, the program will actually share itself into a revision of the mirror. As each mirror, simple task, it depends on the sizes. But when you have the size of the mirror, I will problem solve the matter. But in the needed, also does not belong to the imprint, because in return, its availability is a compound of your decompression in relation to the non-conversion of a dicky, yes, to share into gotcha. That is not monkey magic. It's oh, sorry, I got to concentrate. It's either my mum or my brother, because in return, the diggy is a non-conversion of the module, because in relationship to the module, the flicker of the information to technology is a slow processor, because in return, the CP9 is the element of your material, and to share the animation in relation to the fucking blue moon. I remember this very well, but unfortunately, I don't remember anymore how I work out the 13% GST. Sorry, one tick. I gotta park the car. Because, no, maybe, it's my grandma's statue, and plus my death penalty based upon the injury. But đừng có lo mấy cái đó là đâu có thiệt đâu. Bây giờ xong hết rồi. Tại vì con Alan cũng thương ai hết, mà đừng có lo mấy cái đó. It's just a normal accident, so forget about it. But I put in so much work and so much effort in relation to the 13% GST. And also, after I saw Gabriele, Emerald, Fantasia, Buddha on the cloud, it will never ever happen again, my friend. Never ever. And when I went to the temple in South Melbourne, those things will never happen to me again. I already practiced, or not practiced, but did something by Gabriele, but last time it was strong. It was really strong, but I can't do it anymore because I never will be. The past is the past, but anyway, to memorize, okay, wait a minute. 13% GST is Anna and animation, but if I can have a bomb, some of the words will come back and it will actually help you guys to draft the frequency and also to draft the math condition by Australia, New South Wales, China, New Zealand, Denmark and Italy. But there was some incorrection in relation to Italy. There was no Rome or anything. So later on, I will never get the accuracy back in relationship to the 13% GST. Never. I can't do that anymore. But the way I act now, it's not like that for me to get that back. I never get that back. No. It's just, I'm telling you what I did back then. It was accurate for the two moon, but we have already have the blue cloud. That is beautiful. So if the blue cloud comes back, then however I act now within my heart, it is equal to what I worked through before. It's just I was working without the internet, that's all. That's all it meant. If I had the internet back then, we would have made it. But whatever I do now, we're going to make it anyway. So if the blue cloud appear, it will happen. That means, correct, the 13% GST.